Good evening, folks. Welcome to another edition of the Lads It's Tottenham podcast. You got me hosting tonight. With me as, not with me as always, because I'm not always here, but on the show pretty much as always tonight is Dave. Dave, how are you, mate? All right?
I'm very well indeed. I'm off the back of Oasis Saturday week ago, that high. And this Friday in Perth, Australia, it's the Ashes. I will be there for grumpy old Spurs. Or not.
Cricket, that is, Dave, isn't it? Yeah?
It's called cricket. Are you a fan of cricket, Gibbo?
Nah.
So let's make that very clear to start with tonight's show. You think NFL is better than cricket?
I 100% do. I hope England win, though, Dave. It's always nice to beat the Aussies, isn't it? We don't want to give Ange anything else to be smug about, so that we want to beat the Aussies, mate. But yeah, cricket's not for me, Dave. But anyway, folks, what we're going to do tonight is obviously not a lot to talk about. International football on. Pretty boring. So I'd like to say me and Dave put our heads together and came up with what we're going to talk about. But really, Dave just came up with it because he's the guy that sort of pushes this thing along. And you wanted to talk about the stadium experience, Dave. And what's your thinking behind that then, mate? Where's all this come from?
Well, I think there's a lot of chat on Tottenham social media, podcast, YouTube about the fact that the stadium, is it a curse? I mean, we've had the number of defeats that we've had there since the stadium's opened. I think compare that to the number of defeats the Gooners have had since their stadium opened. It's not a good statistic. And there's been a lot of booing left, right and centre. And I think tonight in grumpy old Tottenham, we need to dive deep into that and give our thoughts and perspectives.
Yeah, because we'll do that and we'll get everybody involved and we'll try and be as sort of like open to suggestion as we can. Because obviously, you know me, Dave, I could pretty much just say the reason why we've lost more games at our stadium than Arsenal have at theirs. It's pretty simple, really. But let's sort of not be too sort of like straightforward about it. Let's see if we can find the reasons, why this could possibly be.
In other words, we're going to pad this out for an hour.
Let's pad it out. Let's sort of, we can be all wokey-cokey about it, can't we? We can be, I think it's because, the fans get on the players' backs and they give them a hard time because they expect to win football games and they're so entitled. But we've... So anyway, let's start. What was so we've got a list of questions that you've put out here, Dave. So how, in your mind, what are you thinking? Are we just going to talk about our stadium experiences first, bounce off each other, and then go into why we think the new stadium's not really giving us the sort of push on that we all felt it would?
That's exactly it. I think a good story is to start at the beginning, and I think we have to have a quick discussion about White Hart Lane.
To start. Yes. Yeah.
White Hart Lane. So your first game at White Hart Lane was?
My first game at White Hart Lane, and this obviously, this just about sums it up. I went to a Spurs Villa game.
Yes.
I believe it was the 91-92 season.
Yeah.
Tottenham went 2-0 up early on. Gary Lineker missed a penalty and we ended up losing 5-2.
Oh.
So that was my first experience. Don't get me wrong, mate. It was brilliant. I can always remember coming up the sort of stairs and looking out onto the pitch. You could hear Pete like singing and the crowd going in it. And for me, it felt like it was being fed through the speakers.
And who took you that day?
So there was a guy who lived just down the road from my parents. My dad sort of knew him from a local football club. He was a Spurs fan and he had a couple of mates who he went with.
Right.
So my dad asked him to take me. And there was a lad who's been on our show before who now runs a Worcestershire supporters club.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of years older than me. So he was there. So it was a car full of us and some other guys who I've since been with all the time. So yeah, and that was it. That was my introduction to White Hart Lane, and I didn't see us win at the Lane until, I'll tell you what, the first game I was at that we won was when we beat Liverpool 2-0, the 9 volley.
Yeah.
Ruddock scored for us in the 9 volley. That was and I'd been a few times until I saw him win.
That's 92-93 season.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah.
So that was the season. Which, by the way,
yeah,
that was obviously that was the first time I started going quite a bit, and we had some good results then, because Ruddock was with us then, wasn't he? And that's one season with Ruddock.
Yes.
I thought was really good. That was one of my first full seasons, and that's probably one of the first times where I said, "Oh, a couple more players, and we could." And we were just a couple of players short.
Yeah. And the gentleman who took you to this, who was a friend of your parents, I mean, did he take you quite a lot in the early years? Would that be right to say?
Yeah, well, there was a gang of us, so we
right.
a couple of times, but we've got a decent train line from Evesham into London, so went on the train as well. And back then, you could trust younger people. You just used to do it, didn't you? More so than yeah. So
this gentleman who took you, obviously the parent, the same age as your parent, or anything like that. Yeah. Did they have any? Did they, in taking you to the game? Did this person have a particular phrase or saying he said every time you went to a game, or a particular player that he got on the back of?
No, mate. To be fair, I always used to grumble about oh fucking hell, we've lost again. I'm just going to get the piss ripped out of me at school or whatever. And they always said, just say to them when they're like, how'd you get on the weekend? Just go become second.
That's what he said to say.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, we've talked about my first game ad infinitum on here, which is Tottenham 9, Bristol Rovers 0. We only talk about that. But yeah, my old man took me and my brother. It's been in the family for years. His favourite expression was "shoot, Perryman, shoot," because Perryman would never shoot, and he'd say it at least once every game. Even he was always banging on about Perryman, which is quite interesting, because in Perryman's first book that he ever did, he said that his brother wouldn't speak to him for years because he felt Bill Nicholson and Eddie Bailey had ruined Perryman. Perryman was quite a creative player.
Yeah.
And he became Bill Nick and Eddie Bailey kind of turned him into a destroyer. And his brother felt that he was much more than that. And we didn't really see him like more of a creative player when he played right fullback under the General years later. So, and I think with White Hart Lane, I think the things that stand out for me was, I mean, I'm so old. I was in the old West Stand, the wooden West Stand. So when you got a corner, you stamp your feet on the wooden floors. People could smoke in there. I was there for the opening of the newer West Stand. And then you obviously had the shelf, which was basically, obviously you had the whole side of a very rare to have an evening. Phil's just put me off by the fact he's late again, honestly. And I think, it's basically, the best night ever at White Hart Lane was UEFA Cup final in '84. I mean, to see your team lift a trophy in your home ground, I mean, it doesn't happen anymore. And the shelf was rammed. I'm sure that there was more people in there. There should have been that night. It was amazing. And that was the best night ever of atmosphere I've been at in the football ground. And those circumstances is to replicate, right? Now, at the end of the day, where we had was a situation was with White Hart Lane, you still had, when the team were playing shit, the crowd got on their back, right?
Mm.
So an old player called John Pratt was probably the first player who I remember being not liked by the fans, right? And
does that bother you, Dave? Just does that type of thing bother you? Players getting grief?
I can't lie to you, Gibbo. I have given players grief over the years myself.
Yeah.
Ian Walker.
Yeah.
Gary Stevens.
Raymond Vega.
Raymond bloody Vega. The list
Gregor
goes on.
Raziak.
Yeah, but I never saw enough of him. But there were players that I could not stand: Sedgley, Ian Walker, Gary, and the list goes on. So I can't sit here and go, it's awful how we boo players and it's shocking and what it does for their confidence. But at the end of the day, it's a two-way street. So the old White Hart Lane, everyone is romantic. We've got a sentimental lot in our fan base. I'm a nostalgist. And yeah, I've been to cracking games, cracking nights, and cracking day games there as well, where the atmosphere is great. But that's when it's the team and the fans are feeding off each other, right?
Yeah, it's always the best way.
It's always the best way. So, that was any particular memories of the lane for you?
Mate, one of my early, I went to some really good games and they were all brilliant when I started going, when I was younger. Win, lose or draw. Don't get me wrong, I hate losing. I'm a terrible loser. Drawing, always wanted to win. But just even the feeling of being there and going, I was sort of like, even though we'd lost and I was pissed off, I was happy that I was there to witness that loss. But the first time I can really, really remember being sort of like, this is amazing, was when we beat Chelsea in the semi-final of the League Cup.
Yeah.
It was rocking that night. It was absolutely banging.
Yeah.
And I loved that. And that was just like such a good, obviously, because it was Chelsea and we tend not to do very well against Chelsea. But I mean, thing for me is, Dave, I know we'll come on to we'll come on to it, but I don't care what people say now. I'm a nostalgist as well, but all the frilly knickers, all the frills around the new stadium don't do anything for me. I'd go and watch Spurs if they were they played at the local park or at one of the high schools in North. Do you know what I mean? The White Hart Lane for me was brilliant, and apart from, like I said, all the frilly stuff that goes around the edges of it, I can't see what the new stadium's done for us more than, I'm a, like you said, mate, White Hart Lane for me, take me back.
But you'd go back to White Hart Lane in a heartbeat, is what you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
But that's I'm taking out all the you've got the revenue the club can bring in by being in a bigger stadium and all the extra stuff we can do, which I know helps all that. I'm talking purely football and the vibe I got from it and what it meant to me. I would go back there in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Right. Okay. You go back there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at the new stadium. But it's new. Yeah. I mean, we keep saying the new stadium. I mean, it's been open now for 6 years.
The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because our new owners, the Lewis family, believe in the heart and soul of the stadium. So they haven't sold it to the highest bidder for naming rights, which I believe shows how much they care about us as a fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great goal. That was Stephen Cole.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What was your first game at the new stadium?
My first game at the new stadium was fucking hell. I'm trying to think. Oh, I went to the me and Zach went to, they had an opening game there. It was under 21s or under 23, something like that, against Southampton. So I went to that game.
A competitive game.
Okay.
I'm sorry to press you like Jeremy Paxman.
No, would it have been? So basically, the opening games were Pochettino, weren't they? Pochettino.
Yeah.
Now I went to Sheffield United. I can remember going to under Pochettino. He didn't get the. Did he get the sack?
That was his last game, I think, isn't it?
But I'm sure I went to.
Was that your first game at the stadium?
No, I don't think it was.
Oh, dear.
I genuinely. I mean, Dave, this is like me and my wife were talking about this the other day. There was someone on telly on the Overlap podcast or Stick to Football, or whatever, and he could talk. He could mention if you said any Man United game between a certain time, he could give you the result and the people who scored. And I used to be able to do that. And my wife was like, "You can do that, Matt." And I said, "Not anymore. Genuinely now,
Are you
I just
losing
don't
your
remember
Tottenham?
those things. I can
Are
remember the
you?
old stuff, but newer
Oh,
stuff I can't remember."
but this
And
is 6 years ago.
and I genuinely can't remember the first game I went to there.
Would you like me to?
Yeah, what was your first one?
Well, unfortunately, for once, the trip from Oz was great timing. So we went to that one of the greatest games and the most toughest opponents ever, monumental Huddersfield at home. Huddersfield at home. Lucas Moura scored a hat trick.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
It was
that was a
between.
Saturday dinner time, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It was the afternoon or lunchtime, one or the other. Oh no, hang on. Are you saying dinner time's lunchtime?
Lunchtime, yeah. Sorry, Dave.
Are you saying okay? That's the old north-south divide coming in
Yeah,
there. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it was lunchtime, and I went to it with my kids.
yeah,
One of my children was not impressed. He said it's just made of glass. What's that about? But he's a
yeah,
wind-up merchant. And we went to that 5-1. Mora scored a hat trick, and I sat there very impressed with the stadium, very impressed with the number of people in there.
yeah,
Impressed by the fact that whatever you say about the charms of White Hart Lane, the food and the toilets were pretty shit. Pardon the pun. The facilities weren't great. Now I know that we're all meant to be going, yeah, well, it's all part of the experience. I get that. But the new stadium, the acoustics, the atmosphere, it was in between, I think, the City first leg and the City second leg that game.
yeah.
So, we were going deep into the Champions League. We still needed to cling on to get the fourth place. So there was a lot riding on it. And so I went there and I thought, yeah, no, it's all right. It's good. It's new and it's shiny. And I thought to myself, yes, that's good.
I
And do
found
you
a
now
picture.
remember?
I found
Go
a
on.
picture here, Dave. 9th of November, 2019. I think was the first home game I went to in the new
Right.
stadium. Well, the first competitive game, like I said, I was at that game that was the under-23s, which was on 24th of March 2019. So yeah,
Right.
I've got a feeling it was I've got a feeling that it was Sheffield United, Pochettino's last game.
I've done the old East Stand toilets, yes. They were not very nice at all. No. Right. So when you went in there for the very first time, what did you think?
Yeah, very nice. Dave, very, very nice. Very modern. Very impressive. Very good sporting arena, events arena. And mate, this is really difficult because like stuff like that, like I said, I look at it and I'd say, yeah, look brilliant, like impressive, cockerel on the roof.
Yes,
I did the skywalk, like, and I thought that's a good gimmick, but none of that.
You weren't moved. I'm hearing that you were not emotionally moved.
No, mate. No, but that's just me. I get other people love it, and I get other people will go and watch Spurs, and other people are proud as punch to say that they're a season ticket holder at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Tottenham have got this. This is the stadium. This is what we, this is what we've got. This is where we play, and people will say to them, "Oh, you got a lovely stadium, haven't you?" And they'll be like, "Yeah," and it will really fill them with pride, but it don't mean a lot to me, mate, unless you're winning football matches. So
okay. So the first time you went, I reckon Mourinho was in charge.
No, the Pochettino against it was 1-1 with Sheffield United, and we could have lost
last game.
And, we could have lost 2-1. Strangely enough, I was at Mourinho's last game as well Nuno's last game against Man United, the El Sakiko or whatever it was called.
That was right, El Sakiko.
Yeah, but yeah. So
what did you think of the? Okay, so what did you when you went? Okay, well you went You went to a game when, we were at the end of days of Pochettino.
Yeah.
It was not a happy camp. I
No.
went when there was stuff to play for, etc., etc. So I remember the atmosphere was there. It was all right. It was pretty good. And it was a stroll in the park, 5-1 against Huddersfield. Whereas you went when there was discontent and unhappiness. So what do you remember anything about the atmosphere that day?
Yeah, it was pretty obvious, as you should imagine. Everyone was expecting to beat Sheffield United, and we never. But then on the other side of the penny, Dave, I went. I was at the Man City game when Nuno first took charge, and Kane.
Yeah.
And obviously, we had the atmosphere was brilliant that day. We beat Man City 1-0. The atmosphere was fantastic, and that was the type of atmosphere that I sort of thought that that stadium would be creating, thinking this is a club that's moving forward and we're going to be winning stuff, winning more football matches than not. And I think the crowd always responds when they, like you said, they're getting stuff back off the pitch. And that was a great atmosphere. So I've witnessed both sides of the coin, Dave. And it just still is what it is to me, mate. It's at the moment, it's the stadium they play in. I mean, how does it make you feel? How does the new stadium, or the fact that Tottenham are in this, are playing in this stadium now? How do you see that? How does it make you feel? What do you get from that?
Have you done the stadium tour?
Not in the new one, no.
Okay.
Like I said, I've done the Skywalk. A stadium tours in midweek is difficult because I'm self-employed. I work in the week. It's difficult for me to get there. And one day we will. Obviously the trophy room will now take a little bit longer to walk through than it did before, because you've got to stop and look at some. But
so, okay, a couple of things. Okay, so I think obviously I'm over here, so I don't get to go that often.
Yeah.
Obviously. I've been to Huddersfield. I went to Brighton when Ericsson scored the goal at the end. We needed to get that. I went to the Leeds game with Conte in charge when we won 2-1. The atmosphere was pretty cooking that day. And then I went to the Chelsea game, the infamous Ange Chelsea game, and we've discussed this to death. I turned up, we were 2-0 up, and then there's a VAR review, and then it all went to shit after that. So it's my fault.
Yeah.
So and bear in mind this, is at the end of that game where we played a high line, 9 players, and we lost, they got a standing ovation at the end from the fans. Okay? So bear that in mind when we talk about other stuff. Yeah?
Yeah.
I did the stadium tour, right? And the club kindly emailed me the week before to say that the pitch will be dressed up as an NFL thing, which I know for you is would be lovely. Yeah, but I was pretty pissed off about that, right? And I have to say, I did the tour, and the people, let me make it clear, the people on the tour working there were really nice, really friendly, and all that kind of stuff. But the opening speech that the bloke gave about our trophies and the fact that we were the first club to win, English club to win a European trophy, we were the first club last century to win the double. Something about the Arsenal were 5 miles down the road, but we could still see over them, and this, that, and the other. It was a bit clutching at straws, frankly. Okay, and then the place is dressed up as an NFL thing, which my kids enjoyed because they don't mind NFL, and because they were running European trials over there for the draft. I believe you know this language more than me, but I was like, this to me, it was like, well, this isn't Tottenham Hotspurs. This is an NFL pitch. And then you go round, and really the amount of stuff that they had to the past was minimal. There was like one corridor there where they had pictures of the 81 Cup team being presented to the royalty before the start of the first game or the second game. There's like one corridor. And, you had this audio thing, which, surprise, surprise, wasn't working. And then you go around and you sit in the posh seats and this, that, and the other. And then, it was good. You went in the dressing rooms. But at the end of it, I just felt like it was a little bit like we're dressed very nicely, but we're not done anything. We've not achieved anything. What's the achievement that's been?
I think there's more like
they've got me cold.
They've got some bits and pieces on the walls now, down round by the south stand and that. But I mean, Dave, like it's Spurs' home, but ultimately it is an events arena, isn't it? And that's what lots of stadiums are like in the USA, and I should imagine around Europe. And it's maybe our perception that needs to change now, rather than the club needing to change. If you get what I mean, I'm not saying they should. I like I said, I'd rather it be, an extremely personal stadium, but it's just not, is it? It's just that's not what. No. That's not the modern. That's not the. I just feel like that's not the modern way.
Look, I mean, Kerry's raising good points about the pricing, right?
Yeah.
And the diehards that are getting older don't feel like chanting anymore. So I think there's a couple of things to unpack there. So, for example, obviously at the Lane, everyone sat together who they would have been wanted to be sat together with. Now I understand that when we move to the new stadium, if you could ask for being placed with the same people that you were with at the Lane. That's my understanding of it. Where my brother and my niece sit, they're sitting with people that we've been a family that we've been going to with Tottenham since the beginning of time, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's a couple of things. I think the prices are extortionate. We have the highest price or the second highest price in the Premier League, right? That's number one.
It's the highest, isn't it, Dave?
It may well be. And now what they did with the concessions, I thought was absolutely for OAPs was disgusting, right? Now, I understand that from a modelling point of view, if you obviously with an ageing population, if you let everybody get a season ticket who's over the age of 65 and they all get a concession, that's not going to work from an income point of view. But what they should have done, and he never did it, but the person who we don't talk about anymore, is actually properly
must not be named.
He should have and he never does it. He would never have done it. He's actually sat down with the FAB or whatever they're called, the trust, and all the rest of them said, look, we got a problem here. If we keep doing these concessions, and you'll see here, this is the average age of the people going, by a certain period of time, we're going to be doing concessions for 25, 50, 70% of the stadium. I'm exaggerating, right?
Yeah.
How are we going to keep the concessions but deal with this issue, right? So the way I would have done it is if a loyalty system, right? So if someone has had a season ticket for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, the longer you hold it, the bigger concession that you get, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it would have kicked in after a certain period of time. So that was disgusting, right? You've seen the pricing this year on the Champions League games where, you've seen it. People have not come back in their drive. Like they've not come into games. There's loads of empty seats, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing that I want to point out as well, and it's obviously when you see the start of the second half, the camera, which is obviously facing the opposite side, there's loads of empty seats because everyone's still having their beer, their whatever, their pie. So the start of the second half, it's kind of like there's less people watching the game than in the first half.
There's so many things to that though, Dave. Like just from my obviously the thing with the concessions, Dave. We look at it as fans, don't we? And what we'd like to see done and what we think they should do. Ultimately, mate, so who would, at that point, business. Looking at it is business. Not us looking at it, Spurs, what it means to us and all that. Purely business. And the ticket pricing. Now, if I wanted, I could spend that money to go if I chose that I wanted to go a lot more than I do. Now, Zach's massively into it. But Zach, my son's played since he was 8. He played a good standard of football, where he was training 4 or 5 times a week, and at the weekend he was playing. So we only really had one day off as a family the weekend. So I chose family over going to Spurs. So when I go now and then, now I take my son, I'll take Zach, who's obviously getting a bit older. He'll probably start going on his own. And I think to myself, and this, I know we're called grumpy old Spurs, but I really don't want to come across as grumpy old Spurs. But more
that's
so
too late,
lately,
Gibbo. It's too late with the dice being cast.
They give me. I'm miserable, but I'm unhappy at watching Spurs more times than I'm happy watching Spurs in the past. Quite a few. We'll talk about since we've been in the new stadium. For me, they've made me unhappy more than they've made me happy, and I've gone to far too many games where the time it takes me to get there, pretty much 3 hours, and there's people who travel further than that. Fair play to them. I've got great admiration for them. But for what it cost me for 2 people, and then the travelling, me driving there, all those bits and pieces, I don't think it's worth it. I don't believe I get the value for my time and my money.
The VFM, as they say.
So I should imagine there are certain people who are quite a lot of people who feel the same way as me. And like I said, also a big point of it from me is that I don't really enjoy what I'm watching on the pitch very much, Dave. So why would I want to spend that amount of money? I don't, like a debate which we'll come on to another time, but I look at it and I think if I'm watching your Kanes and your Sons and your Bales and your Modric's, I think about now if I'm going to go and spend some money, say if somebody said to me about going to the next home game, I'd be thinking, who am I going to like? Whereas I used to be thinking I'm spending that, but I'm going to watch, like Kane, Son, Dele, Ericsson, Dembele. I'd be going, Zach, if my son said to me, like, who are you looking forward to watching now, Dad? I'd be like, well, I'm just taking you.
You've raised a good point.
Just taking you.
Well, you've raised a good point, which we can get to in a minute. But firstly, Kerry's very kindly offered to buy us a week's holiday. Thanks, Kerry. Nice one. I'll do.
Hey, Kerry, the money I don't spend on Tottenham, I pay for my own. I pay for holidays. That's what I'd rather be doing.
No, I'd rather Kerry pays. I'd rather Kerry pays for our holiday. Thanks very much. We don't earn nothing out of this. Believe you me.
But yeah, Dave. Like you're saying about fans, and I think there does come a point where you don't want to be talking about your football team and that, saying I don't feel like I get value for money. But I think it does come to a point where you do start thinking, that's a lot of money. I'm spending a lot of money here for not getting a lot back.
It's a lot. So it's a shitload of money. Absolutely. Right. And then we'll get on to this now, is this issue of entitlement.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you've reeled off a few names there: Modric, Kane, Son, Dembele, Øyvind Leonardson, all the greats over the years, right?
Yeah.
And so we're now seeing this phenomena at the stadium, or I'm seeing it, booing at halftime. Right?
Yeah.
Booing at halftime. Now, there's been some games. I remember the Sonny game where he came on and got the hat trick, but
Leicester.
It was quite tight. It was a good, exciting game that first half. It was quite tight.
Yeah,
I think, and then there's people booing that halftime of that game, and I'm sat there in the middle of the night, whatever, going, why are people booing? Right now, I think is it a generational thing? So old bastards like me, I started in the promotion season. And was spoiled with 7 visits to Wembley in 14 months and all the rest of it, Hoddle. And then I've kind of seen us really drop down since then, and then it's gone up again and really dropped down. So I just get irritated. You've got the kind of the youngsters who Pochettino may have been their entry point.
Yeah.
Which, Pochettino was more of an exception to the rule than anything in recent years. and then you got social media and all this stuff. Are we an entitled lot? I mean, what really is Tottenham? Because
Yeah.
what is Tottenham? If you look at Tottenham and its history, of the history of you going and me going, what is Tottenham?
So like basically, Dave, I don't think I've moaned about, obviously, as you can probably tell, about performances of teams, players, managers. I've never stood there and booed. I think the closest I've been was at that Nuno game when we lost to Man United.
Yes,
Literally, when you just like, you don't know what's going on, you just can't fathom it.
you
That's
were
the
booing
closest.
Levy that afternoon, weren't you?
That's the closest I've been. But like, I think, Dave, I think it might be a generational thing, because when people, if I say fuck that ain't very good, or that was crap, or you're annoyed about a performance, and someone says, "Oh, you're entitled," or "fans are entitled," that gets my back up a bit, because I'm thinking, look, I don't agree with the booing, but these people are spending time away from their families. They're choosing to go, but it's, and I suppose nowadays that, I think the entitled's a buzzword now. You're entitled if you're not happy with what you've seen, or like I said, the reason I watch, I want to see good football. Basically, I want to enjoy a game of football, and
So
I can't.
what Tottenham is to you?
Yeah.
You just want good football.
So for me, and so of course, yeah. And I think I want good football. I don't want this like I don't like all the Tottenham way. I don't, mate. I don't buy into all that nonsense. So,
Mm-hmm.
but just like as an example, and I don't know how you feel about this, Dave. The last Tottenham game, when we've had some good results, the last Tottenham game I can actually remember watching and thinking that was a good game of football. I enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
watching that. Was when we beat Man City at the Etihad under Ange. 4-1, was it?
Yeah.
4-1 or
The
4-0?
4-0. Yeah.
Now, the last time, and then different style of football, the last time I can remember thinking Spurs are on tonight, I'm looking forward to watching that. Was Pete Conte.
Mm-hmm.
Like a few of those games when we had that sweet spot with Conte. And I
Yeah.
enjoyed that, even though it was like we were tidy at the back, we were well organised at the back. We had a way of how we were going to play. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't the most expansive, but we had some good players as well.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, we got Kane, we got Son, we got these such and such players. So whatever, we're going to see some good footballers playing. When I watch Spurs at the minute, there is nobody I couldn't give to. I mean, centre backs are probably our best players, and I prefer, attackers and attacking football. And I think what Spurs means to me, mate, is like, or what I want from Spurs is, I want to be at work during the day and thinking, no matter who they're playing, Spurs are playing tonight. I'm going to do all the bits I want to do, and then I want to sit down and I want to enjoy watching them play.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really get that, and that's what Spurs are to me. It's about enjoyment. Obviously, we've been through everything we've been through watching Spurs, the highs, a lot of the lows, a lot of the mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just and sometimes now I get to a point where I think I've just been here before. It's like fucking Groundhog Day. But yeah, Spurs to me, like, obviously we'll come on to you. I want you obviously to let us know what Spurs means to you. But it used to be about enjoyment, mate. In enjoying watching my team play, and I thought we were getting to a point where not only are we going to enjoy watching this team play, but we are actually pushing on.
Yeah, if you think about the supporting life of Tottenham, right, and you think about the number of trophies we've actually won in our lives since we've been alive and supporting the club,
Yeah,
and you look at that as a percentage of your supporting career,
yeah,
it's a low percentage, right?
yeah,
It's a low percentage, and I think really we are a cup team who have had the odd go at the title.
And it is the odd go, isn't it?
The odd go at the title. We're a cup team who are inconsistent in the league, who play attractive football, who are a bit shit at the back, and at times, you-know-who, we may have had 2 world-class players, 2 good players, and the rest pretty meh, and then shit, right? So what I look for is we're playing front foot football, right?
Yeah.
Front foot football. Why are we streaming twice? I don't know what that is.
Let me have a look on.
Are we streaming twice?
Well, Dave, it's like you said. I've started this show up, and I am the least tech savvy person on this. We are streaming twice, Dave.
Why is that then? I don't know.
I have not got a clue.
Maybe we'll increase our numbers.
I don't think
so. Well, that's probably I screwed it up, setting it up. Anyway, so have we been cloned? That's worrying. I warned you about AI.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, moving back to this. So all I'm saying is this. What do I look for? I look for exciting football. Yeah? Exciting football. I look for having a go. And what do I mean by having a go? Buying some players in the transfer market that go, yes, we've got this player, we've got that player. Someone who's you're just excited about. Players will get you off your seat at the stadium, right? Yeah. I'd like us to be challenging in the top 4. I'd like us to feel like we're going to a game where we've got a chance of winning. I mean, there was a lot of times in the 90s and the noughties, you go to a game and you go, we are going to get absolutely shellacked here. And it was more about the experience of going to the game with your mates and your family and having a laugh at them than the actual football, right?
Yeah.
So what I would like us is going to a game or watching the game is that you're going to see exciting football. You're going to win more games than you lose, but knowing our place in the grand scheme of things, that we are not a Liverpool or historically a Liverpool United, even City or that lot down the road under Wenger, but you would like to think that we would have owners who are going to invest. You are going to have owners who are going to invest. We buy players who are at their peak and we play exciting football and off we go. But as I think Phil said it very well, and I'll bring it back up again. We've seen 3 wins in 21. That's like 3 wins over a full season. Yeah. Yeah,
it's shocking.
And that is appalling, right? Absolutely appalling.
Obviously, we've had this conversation before, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said to you, and we can play Gibbo Bingo, I said to you,
here we go.
Losing is habit, so is winning. And correct me if I'm wrong though, Dave. Last season, when we were losing home games and we were all going, oh, it's okay, because this is what we need to do to win the Europa League, and it'll all be fine after. And I'm like, no, I don't think it works like that. You can get in that.
I've got a rebuttal for you, but carry on.
You can have the rebuttal, and I'm saying, and I'm not. So I'm not blaming anyone now. I'm not putting it on anyone. I'm just saying, losing's a habit, and so is winning. And we were, and people justified just losing games, just happy to lose games last season. Like, I think that's for what we got. I think that's tin pot thinking. But we were happy to do that, or some people were, and that is a big part, I think, of why we keep losing now. It's just we're out of that. The stadium now has that atmosphere. There's that fear about playing there because we're used to losing and everything. We created that. We have done that ourselves.
So, annoyingly, you weren't supporting Tottenham in the 1990-91 season, were you? Annoyingly.
Yeah. I started supporting in about 87.
Okay, great. So I hate using this expression, friend of the show, so I'm not going to. So Gareth Dace's pod, which is Gascoigne going to have a crack. He recently reviewed the 1991 season. I think he had Eric the Viking on and Mike Lee from the Spurs show, and then there was a discussion about, well, we started off really well. We got to November, we were like challenging Liverpool and Arsenal, and then we got beat by Liverpool at home. And after that, and particularly from about January, February onwards that season, our league form was utter toilet, right?
Yeah, I like that
But
word.
we had the cup though, and we kept progressing through the cup. And so it was at that point, as a fan base, we were like, well, as long as we keep going in the cup, doesn't really matter what happens in the league. And lo and behold, that's what we had last season.
I suppose everybody's different, Dave. When I can always remember when people say, "What would you prefer, top 4 or a cup?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you think? Do you think?" And obviously, us as fans, we believe we are a big club. And do you think we're a big club? Yeah. Well, I want both. I don't want to choose one. Big clubs, top teams. We're finishing top 4 and winning trophies. But we wanted to be a top club, but we'd have to choose one or the other because you couldn't do both.
Well, Dan Kilpatrick is a muppet on View from a Lane, who otherwise ruins the great View from a Lane pod. Basically said we would settle for 17th and win a trophy every time. No, we would not.
But I think.
Well, some would, right? Because we've been so starved. It's like the deal with the devil. It's a deal with the devil. But at the end of the day, I think to sum it up, because we want to talk about the Gooners, we want to move on to a happier topic. Gooners away in 1 minute. So to sum it up, with the stadium, I don't want to see Squid Games activation. I want to get. I'd like the trumpeter to go and take his trumpet and stick it where the sun don't shine.
I don't mind that.
I do. I don't. I want the chicken in a basket guitar playing Robbie WIlliams fan to move on.
Barry bloody
Manilow. What other club uses Barry Manilow to get the masses going? You've got Blur, Song 2. You've got Faithless. You've got Tottenham's Dave Clark 5 at Palace. We've got Barry fucking Manilow.
Yeah. I mean, Dave, just one thing we've got on our... Before we go to the Arsenal one, though, about the whole stadium, we've said our piece now.
Yes.
Do we think on the pitch, do we think that stadium is bringing in better players, or is are there players we've got now at Spurs that have come because of that stadium? Or if we rip White Hart Lane, because I'm probably in a minority, but I think we could pretty much have the same team as we have now. We could have got the same players in that we've got now. And we would have, if we were playing at White Hart Lane, we would have we wouldn't have lost as many games as we have recently, and we'd have been a tougher nut to crack. But the player-wise, I don't think that's really altered. I don't think one player's coming on. Well, I've come to Tottenham now. Now you've got the new stadium, but I wouldn't have come if you were still at White Hart Lane.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, this is what we were sold. We were sold. We will compete with the big boys because we've got bigger revenues. We can pay bigger salaries. We can pay bigger transfer fees, and we've been sold a pup. Yeah, that's not happened.
Like I said to you before,
not
Dave,
happened.
We're here, right? And Kane, Son, obviously not the peak
generational talent.
Yeah,
but
Kane, we've lost these players, and we're at this stadium, and some will say a few names that we've got in, and I'm like, I understand we're not going to get a player of peak Son or Kane full stops quality in, or even maybe slightly lower. But I would like to think we could get a player who's in the same somewhere
agree.
near. I mean, the players we get in ain't even in the same fucking stratosphere as them two,
I know.
and that's what and so for me, it's like that stadium. For me, it's like, and you know the old Alan Partridge meme where he's just like, it's just that, isn't it?
So just to tidy up this very quickly before we move on to the Gooners, this Barry Manilow thing, I thought it was Tottenham fans singing it in Europe, and it was about Poch and stuff like that. That's where I thought Barry Manilow came from.
I've heard people sing it before and say, or write that "Can't Smile Without You," but just the what is it? CS W.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I've seen them put that on the end of messages or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's been about before it became like a song we played before a game, and like you said, I think it's been since we won in Europe. A lot of people singing it then, and then and then it's like before a game. It's not really
Barry Manilow, please.
Yeah.
Yaz doesn't want Robbie WIlliams. He wants Mark Knopfler.
Mark Knopfler.
Yeah, Mark Knopfler. Kerry wants the Rolling Stones. They weren't to be playing, weren't they? The Tottenham Stadium.
I can't get no satisfaction. That's what she once played before.
No, she wants. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what. Right now, let's move on to a happy topic to finish off, and I think Yaz sums up very nicely. There is a very common view that we have no chance to get a result against the Goons. Gibbo, over to you.
Yeah, it'd be tough, wouldn't it, mate? I mean, we're better away from home than we are at home, but they're a good side, aren't they? I know we don't want to sort of admit it, and people like to claim that Arsenal lucky once again or whatever, but they're just good at what they do, mate. And I think I can't see them not winning the league this year.
What about our track record at since the Premier League began? Now, how many victories have we got at the away?
Is it the Delhi chip and Eunice
Kabul's
the League header?
Cup. That's the League Cup, Delhi.
So I can only think of the game where Kabul scored there, and we won.
Yes, that's one. Any others?
We won there. We haven't won there another time, have we?
We've won there a whole twice since the Premier League began.
What was the other time we won there then?
A meaningless dead rubber before the 1993 FA Cup final.
Oh, that was at Highbury though, wasn't it?
No, yeah, but I'm talking Premier League. The question was Premier League.
Oh, okay. Yeah, was that when Sheringham won the Golden Boot?
I don't think he ever won the Golden Boot, did he?
He did, didn't he?
John Hendry scored 2 goals, and we beat them 3-1. The whole of the what do they call it? The North Bank had been blocked up with those faces for the season. The faces. And we won 3-1. And the Arsenal fans cruelly sang to us, "What are you doing Saturday?" Because they were going to the FA Cup final, and they knocked us out in the semis.
They talk about teams with bogey teams or a ground they never win at.
Yes.
There's just so many. Tottenham, Anfield, away at Arsenal, away at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I thought you were only meant to have...
Is there a link here?
I think you were only meant to have one of these. Yeah, one of these sorts of hoodoos. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't see us beating them, Dave. Yeah, the 4-4 draw, that was a good game. Felt like a victory. Fuck me. But yeah, I mean, Dave.
That's a good point from Phil. We've got so many grounds we're shit at. That's why we'll never win the league.
It's right though. But yeah, it'll be extremely tough. They are a good team, and no matter what they're a better team than us, and they have better players than us. And
yes,
they will probably win the league this year, and we're just not at that level. I think that rather than going there expecting anything, we've probably got more chance of being that plucky side that goes there with nothing to lose and just digs deep and tries to nick something. I think that's our best route to victory or getting a result.
Yeah. So the good news is that our away form is brilliant, and the game is being played at their ground. Tick.
Yeah.
I would double pivot the shit out of this game. All right, I'll double pivot it left, right, and centre. Okay.
Yeah.
Paulinho, Bentancur, pivot away, boys. Right.
Yeah.
I think Sarr went off injured, but I think Gabriel, he went off injured, so he might not play. And it's interesting with Sunderland because they really was the first team to kind of were very physical against them, and they didn't like it. Unfortunately, our physical striker up top has done his drawing, so he can't play, which means that who's going to play up top?
Richarlison be on the he'll spend a lot of time on the floor, won't he? He'll be on the floor a lot. But Dave, you can double pivot. You can double pivot till your fucking heart's content, mate.
Pivot away.
You can pivot away. Very good at the back, and we are not great in attack, are we? I know that if you look at people who say, if you look at the table of goals from open play or whatever, Spurs are wherever. But now we're talking just being real. And
Derek's there. Derek.
They are good at shutting teams out, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. And I think we have players that they will find quite easy to shut out.
Okay, so I think the way I would do this is obviously Vicario behind the line in goal.
Yeah.
I'd have Jed Spence at right back.
Yes.
Van Romero, I'd have Destiny left back.
Yeah.
Double pivot.
Yeah.
I'd have Xavi Simons, number 10. And he puts Declan Rice on his arse, just like he did in the Euros.
Yeah.
And then up top with the potpourri of paucity to pick from. I want Odebear on the left because I think him and Destiny combine very well.
Yeah, and he'll have a go, won't he?
Yeah,
he will. Whether it's for me, Dave. I know you're saying about have you picked your centre forward yet?
Well, this is the problem. We're getting back now. Who have we got to pick from? We've got Richarlison. We've got Tell. Scarlett and Johnson. Oof.
Well, no, and is Kudus fit? Do we know?
Oh, forgot about Kudos. Yeah, Kudos from the Watford nightclub. Get Kudos in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't up top. I've said it before. Like, I'd rather see Tau have a game, and then you watch him play, and you think, my word. But I just don't know with Richarlison now whether he's long term. Is he?
Well, he's not long term. He's rubbish.
I think he's rubbish. I don't think Tau has been fantastic, but I think Tau's got more about him, and I think he's probably got a better array of finishing. Like the goals Tal has scored, I don't think Richarlison's scoring them for Spurs, getting shots away from where he's got them.
Okay, but Frank, being the conservative that he is going to play Richarlison. So really, you could have up top if Kudos is not fit. I don't know, and then
I mean, it's fucking depressing, isn't it? Like when we're talking about those players: Kane, Son, Keane, Berbatov, Defoe, even Darren Bent.
No. You've gone too far now.
Even Darren Bent.
He shanked it
compared to
home against
the
Arsenal.
Sort of like you said, the potpourri of
paucity.
Don't
bring out Pavlyuchenko next,
mate. I just So when we're talking about this forward line, I'm just like, my word. I mean, Mwani with a mask, but I don't think that's going to happen. We've just once again, different chat for a different day. But for God's sake, Tottenham Hotspur, do us a favour and fucking buy if there's half decent centre forward, he only needs to be half decent.
Tony,
in January,
would you take Tony on loan?
Without question, can hold the ball up, can score goals, can bring other people into play without question.
What about that Juventus fella? What's his name?
He's not been great there, but I mean, if I've not seen lots and lots of him, Dave, but for me, and I doubt we'll be able to get the funds, but I would go to Saudi and I would be buying Ivan Toney and I would be buying Neves, the guy who was at Wolves.
Okay.
Like a midfielder who can pass the ball forwards and get hold of the ball, who can put his foot in. He can do the best bits of Paulina and Bentancur and 100% a centre forward.
All right. What's your prediction then for the weekend?
2-0.
Okay, 2-0. I'm going 1-1. We're going to be boring. We're going to get 1-1. Let's finish off with a couple of comments, which some of it's not, you're not going to like these comments. But anyway, am I looking forward to the Ashes? Yes, I am. I'm going to Perth. I'm going to the first 3 days at Perth. Very excited about that. No Pat Cummins, no Hazelwood. It's going to be tough. We've got to get a result in Perth. Very important. And Gibbo, you don't love your cricket, do you? So
no, it's the Cowboys versus the Eagles next week.
Is it now?
I'll be watching that. Yeah.
Where's that being played at?
Big divisional game. It's in Dallas, I believe.
Right.
Let me just check for anybody who wants to know, just in case they want to watch it. I think it's 9:25 next Sunday, Dave. Big game.
Milton has said not Spurs related, but Metallica put on. Do you like Metallica?
Don't mind a bit of Metallica.
Do you prefer Metallica to Oasis?
No.
Okay. Do you prefer Oasis or the Lighthouse Family?
I've got to think about that one. Oasis all day long, mate.
I mean, if you said Lighthouse
you were
Family
worried then, weren't you?
over Oasis, I think me and you would have to have a discussion off air about whether we carry on this great showbiz partnership. But,
you were worried then.
I was very worried. And that's it. I think we're all out of time.
Yeah. I mean, Dave, we've managed to drag that out for 1 hour and 4 minutes.
Pad out.
We padded that out for 1 hour and 4 minutes. Well done, mate. Yeah. We got 26 people watching at the minute. I've got a feeling we hit 30. We're up to 20. I reckon we hit 30 at one point. So I'm expecting full views by the next show. 423, something like that. 425.
Listen, we get to 500. It's a good week. And considering that the last few weeks we've talked about games and stuff. If we get to 300, I'll be happy. If we get
to 500, Dave, it will be a bigger shock than Spurs going in the transfer market in January and buying a shit hot centre forward.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, guys, thanks for all your comments. Thanks for getting involved. We've thoroughly enjoyed that moan fest, haven't we, Dave? I think we got more interaction than we thought we were going to.
Well, and also Kerry's offered to pay for us to go on holiday, which is lovely.
Yeah, I'll start looking. We'll have a little chat in the group, see where we fancy going, Dave, and then we'll send Kerry the details.
Fantastic news.
All right, so all we got to say is, as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.